Good morning, students. Today we will be studying about diversity in the living world. So, diversity in the living world is the topic of chapter 1 from the living world. Okay. So, in our last video, we have covered about the characteristics of the living organisms, into which we have studied about that metabolism, cellular organization, and consciousness are the defined features into which we can differentiate between living and non-living. Rest the growth and reproduction are not that prominent feature into which we can differentiate between living and non-living. So in the continuation, today we will be studying about the diversity in the living world. Now, living world, we know the world which we live in, and diversity means the variety. That means the variety of the animals which are found in the living world. Okay, so we know that around us there are many different animals. We have plants, we have birds, insects, and many other microorganisms also, which we cannot see from our normal eyes. So some of them we feel are beneficial to us, and some of them we feel they are not beneficial to us. Okay, but overall everything is important to us. So around 1.7 to 1.8 millions of species of living organisms are known till date. So till date we have identified till date we have identified 1.7 to 1.8 millions of species. So all these species which are living beings, which are living organisms, which are found in the world is called as the diversity, because diversity means the variety. So if we talk about the definition of biodiversity, it would be very simple. Okay, so biodiversity defines the total number and type of organisms present on earth. Okay, so because bio means life and diversity means the variety, so the variety of the different organisms, so it could be total number and type of organisms present on the earth means the biodiversity. So we know that there are many millions of plants and animals in the world, and they are called with particular name in our area, so we call them with their local names, or we can call them a vernacular names. So since the local names would vary from place to place, and even within a country we know that we recognize something with some other name, and if we go to some other state or some other place, they would be calling the same thing with the other name, which causes a confusion, and it create a confusion, and we are not able to find a certain things. Like if we we are eating mango here in this place, and we travel across our India and we go to some other place and we don't know their language, then we will call that fruit which we call here as in Hindi, so we will call it with the same name. So maybe we go to the southern part of India and we are talking in Hindi, but we will be saying the name of the mango as and they will be calling with the other name, so there will be a confusion. So because since every place have different name of certain organisms, like plants or animals, so first the naming was done for the plants or the fruits. Okay, so that's why we use a certain standard technique to name some organism. So that process of naming a particular organism so that it would be called with the same name all throughout the world is called as nomenclature. So because of this confusion, because we have so many microorganisms and the different animals and different plants, so everywhere they will be called with different names. So to stop this the confusion, scientists find a solution to name those organisms with a certain name, and this process is called as a nomenclature. So we have to study about this nomenclature and identification. Nomenclature and identification. Okay, so we have certain rules to identify and to name these living organisms. So nomenclature is the process of naming the living organism such that a particular organism is known by the same name all over the world. Okay, so process of naming living organisms such that a particular organism is known as by the same name all over the world. Okay, so this nomenclature have certain rules, like we follow some patterns how to name them. Before this, when we are studying about biodiversity, we know that the variety of life form existing on the earth, okay, that is the biodiversity, and it is useful to us as it maintains ecological balance on the earth. And then we have to study about them. So that, why do we study about them? So that if they are important to us, then they would be very very important in the in maintaining ecological balance, and they also maintain the food chain. So we have to prevent those species from existence. So in one way we have to preserve the biodiversity. So that is why we need to study about them. That is why we need to identify them, and then we name them. Okay, so nomenclature is the biological classification. So it follows a system of naming the organisms. Okay, so in which we take a technique of a two system technique. So the species to which the organisms belong is indicated by two words, which is called as genus, and the other is called as species. Okay, so yes, in biological classification, the organisms are named by two systems. So before this, I will tell you a little thing, that biology is a branch of science. Okay, so because when we are small we study science, and when we grow up we study science in three different parts, which is called as physics, chemistry and biology. So biology means the study of life, bio means life, and logy means study. Okay, so then the father of biology is Aristotle. And when you go further in the topic, you will study that biology is divided into two different subjects called as zoology and other is botany. Name the organism, to name the living organism, we also have to know about them. Okay, so because there is a need to name the living organism, so we have to make a standard rule to name those organisms. So that particular organism should be known with the same name all over the world. Okay, that is called as a nomenclature. But to name something, it is only possible when the organism is described correctly, and then we have to know that organism which we are naming. So we have to identify it also. So that is how the need of the identification developed. So as in nomenclature is in biology, the classification classification system of naming organism. So in biology, classification system of naming organism is that the species to which the organisms belongs is indicated by two words. Okay, so the species to which the organism belong is indicated by the two words, which is called as the genus and species. Okay, so what is this genus and what is this species? Genus is the generic name. It is the generic name, and species is the specific epithet. Okay, now just now I've told you that to name the organism there has to be a standard pattern for the naming, and to name them we also need identification. So I will explain you these things. Before that I will explain you about the identification, because both of them goes sideways. So identification. Okay, so what is identification? It is the describing the organisms. Like if we want to identify, name something, so we also have to describe that organism, that how does it looks like and what are its features. So describing an organism correctly so that organisms can be named. Okay, and if we don't do that without identification, we cannot carry the nomenclature. Okay, so that's why identification is must. Okay, so like we have to name the organisms, to name the need to name the organisms, so that all over the world we have to call those names with a specific name, and to name we have to identify the organisms also. So because if we will not identify the organisms, how will we name it? Okay, so that's why the importance of nomenclature becomes very, very prominent. The common system of naming is essential so that it makes it usually accepted throughout the world, and this also helps to great extent in maintaining the standardization of the naming living things. Now, how do we name it? Okay, so first of all, who told that how we will name it? So now there is a scientist all over the world established a procedure, and they assign a scientific name to each organism, and this was acceptable by all the biologists all over the world. Okay, so they agreed to some principles and to some criteria which provide the information, and those information are written in the international codes. Okay, so we have some international codes, because these codes have the principles which are agreed by all the scientists who gave the name. Okay, so international code. So we have two codes, one for the botany and one for zoology. So international code of botanical nomenclature which is denoted generally by ICBN. Okay, so this is the international code. And for the zoology, it's International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Okay, which stands for ICZN. Okay, it's ICZN. So these are the acceptable and agreed principles which are given by the scientist, and all this information is provided in these codes. So this international code is for plants and this is for the animals. Okay, so scientists ensure that each organism has only one name. That's why we have a nomenclature. So description of any organism is enabled to the people all over the world that they will call that with the same name. So it also makes sure that the name has not been taken already and that name is not used for the other organism. So like every single organism in the world will have a particular name. So no two organisms will have a same name, and that's why we have two different codes, one for the plants and one for the animals. For the plant it is called as the International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, and for the plants it is called as International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, and for the animals it is called as International Code of the Zoological Nomenclature. Okay, so all the biologists they have accepted the principle that the scientific name has to be given, and then each name, so what are the techniques by which we follow? So each name has to be given by two components. Okay, two components. So what are those components? As I've told you here that this is a technique of nomenclature, that we have two words which is a genus and the species. So I will be explaining you. First we'll learn about the biological nomenclature and then we will study about the two components. So there comes a biological nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature. Okay, so this binomial nomenclature is a two-term naming system which uses two different terms to name the species. Okay, so in this system is this was given by Carlos Linnaeus. You have to remember the name of the scientist who gave this. It's Carlos Linnaeus. Okay, and this is practiced by the biologists all over the world. And this naming system, since it has two-word format, that's why we call it a binomial nomenclature. We can also call it as a binary nomenclature. Okay, so this is from the two kingdom classification. Okay, so in this we have two components, which is one is the generic name and the other is the specific epithet. Okay, so generic name means the genus and specific epithet means the species of any organism. So to explain you in a better ways, I will say that this genus do not change. It remains constant, same all the time, and the species can change. Okay, like an example, we have an example of like take Homo sapiens. Okay, so we'll write Homo and sapiens. Okay, so here the Homo is the genus and sapiens is the species. So because Homo stands us, we are the human beings, so there is only one species of human in this world, but we have so many species of cat, Okay, so because cats can be different, like leopard, jaguar, puma, all are different types of cat. So like for the cat and for the lion, like for the lion, we call it as Panthera, Leo, and for the tiger, we call as Panthera tigris. Okay, so this tigris stand for tiger. So because they have some similarity, that's why they are kept in same genus Panthera, but they have different species. Lion is other species and tiger is other species, so that's why they are called with a different species name. Okay, so species is like a surname which which all the members of a family have a same surname, so all these animals will have a same species. Okay, so because for the humans we just have only one species, so it's like Homo sapiens. And for the mango, we write it Magnifera fera indica. So here also this is the genus and this is the species. Okay, so species is a specific epithet. Specific epithet would be, if I tell you the definition, it is a second element, which is a Latin name. Actually, why all these naming was done in Latin name? Because Latin name is the name, the language which was obsolete by that time, so there when a language is not in use, so there are no variations in the language because it won't change over the period of time, so that's is a fix. So they are in Latin, and they are the names which will come after the name of their genus. So this specific epithet are followed by a generic name. Okay, so these names are fixed and no other organism in the world will be named on these names. So every single species have their own name of their species, so the name of the species written at the after this. And since we have two names, so it is called as a binomial nomenclature or a two word format. So it was very convenient. So example, mango, to understand it's very easy because English we can say in many countries, but a scientific name is provided to the mango, which is written as a Mangifera indica. This is a binomial name, that means two names are there. And here the genus is Magnifera and the species is indica. Okay, so we have certain rules in this binomial nomenclature, that is the biological name are generally in Latin and they are written as italicized. Okay, so I have written the name in different format, like I have not written in the cursive handwriting. So always the first letter has to be the capital and the species name can be in the small letter. Okay, so every letter has to be in a Latinized form or italicized form, and if you write with the hand we have to underline those names leaving a gap between them. Okay, and if we print them, so they will be italicized, they will be like in slant ऐसे आएंगे. ठीक है, and the first word denotes the genus and the second word denotes the species. That is, so in your NCERT book you have been given the rules of the binomial nomenclature. You can easily go through that. Okay, after this nomenclature and identification, we come to the next thing called as the classification. So since it's almost impossible for us to study all the living organisms, okay, so that's why we carry the classification. So classification. So because I've told you, because it's like impossible to study all the living organisms, so it is necessary to have some means of technique into which we can classify all the organisms. Like it is like a grouping of the organisms so that it is convenient for us to categorize them, and so that we can easily observe them. Like example, you study in a school, so it is possible for anyone to remember the name of each and every child? No, it is not possible. So for that, because we have just read that there are 1.7 to 1.8 millions of species which are known till now, and every single day many species are getting identified and then they are being named. So identification is being done, the nomenclature is being done, and then the classification is also being done. So the need of the classification is basically we cannot recognize all the plants and animals. There are so many species, so how can we classify? We cannot remember the name of 101.7 millions of species. So what do? We just keep them, like if we find the same features of some organisms, we keep them in a different order. Okay, so that's why we group them. We group the plants and animals, like we have group like dogs and cats and insects. So there are so many types of insects, but the insects having same kind of feature are grouped in some different things. And the animals, like I've told you, cats, so there are so many cats. So all the species of, like we have domestic cats, then we have wild cats. So tiger, lion, all are, we can also call them cat. Easy way I would tell you, like we to study in school, we can't remember the name of each and every child, so we have classes, we have sections. So it's easy for us to identify the student by their class and by their sections. That's why we need to classify the things, because the process of grouping things into the categories based upon some of the easily observable characters is called as classification. And then we have some features and quality into which we classify. So what is the need for classification? Actually, it is not possible to study about the organisms. So we classify the organisms and we make groups so that it's easier for us to identify about them life. So I will be explaining you in detail in the next video. Till then, you please go through the topic of your diversity in the living world. This is page number 6 and 7. Read this and then I'll explain you classification on the next video. Thank you.